Mark Rothko, born Marcus Yakovlevich Rothkowitz in 1903 in the small town of Dvinsk, now Daugavpils in Latvia, emerged as one of the foremost figures of abstract expressionism in the 20th century. His life and art form a complex narrative that resonates with themes of spiritual depth, tragedy, and an unwavering quest for the profound. Rothko's journey from his early days in the Russian Empire to his last canvases of darkness and transcendence spans a vast expanse of artistic evolution and personal turmoil. Rothko's early childhood was steeped in both intellectual curiosity and existential fear. His father, a pharmacist and ardent Marxist, instilled in his children a love for knowledge, filling their home with books and political discussion. Despite this rich intellectual environment, the atmosphere was overshadowed by fear of anti-Semitic violence and persecution. Rothko's father's sudden return to Orthodox Judaism and his eventual emigration to the United States shaped young Mark's worldview, one in which religion and identity were in constant tension. The family's arrival in the United States in 1913 marked a dramatic shift. The death of Rothko's father shortly after they arrived in Portland, Oregon, left them in financial distress. Despite these hardships, Rothko's precociousness in school and his passion for learning propelled him forward. At Lincoln High School in Portland, he became involved in political debates and developed a keen interest in issues like workers' rights and social justice, early echoes of the intensity that would later fuel his art. Rothko's intellectual curiosity led him to Yale University in 1921, though he found the elitism and prejudice of the institution stifling. Disillusioned, he left Yale without graduating and moved to New York City in 1923. There, a chance encounter with life drawing classes at the Art Students League ignited his passion for art. Under the mentorship of Max Weber, he began to see painting as a means of expressing emotional and spiritual truths, a belief that would guide his work throughout his life. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, Rothko moved in artistic circles that included Adolf Gottlieb, Barnett Newman, and Milton Avery. These friendships were formative, exposing him to modernist ideas and encouraging him to pursue art as a calling. Rothko's early paintings depicted urban scenes and interiors, marked by an expressive, somber tone. He exhibited with the Ten, a group of artists rebelling against the literalism of American painting at the time, laying the groundwork for his later embrace of abstraction. As the 1930s turned to the 1940s, Rothko's work evolved from representational to mythologically and psychologically charged. His fascination with myth was influenced by his reading of Freud and Jung, whose ideas on the unconscious and archetypes resonated deeply with him. Rothko believed that myth offered a universal language through which he could express the tragic and the eternal. His paintings from this period, such as Antigone, Oedipus, and The Sacrifice of Iphigenia, reveal a complex interplay of ancient themes and modern anxieties. World War II cast a long shadow over Rothko's artistic development. Confronting the horrors of war, he felt compelled to find a new visual language to express humanity's profound spiritual needs. He delved into Nietzsche's The Birth of Tragedy, which spoke of art's redemptive power in the face of existential despair. Rothko's response was to strip away narrative and figuration, turning instead to pure abstraction. This led to the creation of his multiforms in the late 1940s, where organic shapes hovered and merged in fields of color. These paintings marked Rothko's breakthrough, a departure from mythic content to a purely visual expression of emotion. By 1949, he had found his mature style. Large canvases with stacked, luminous rectangles of color. These fields of color, seemingly simple, were meticulously crafted to evoke a powerful emotional response, an experience Rothko described as intimate and human. Throughout the 1950s, Rothko's paintings grew in scale and ambition. He sought to envelop the viewer in what he called dramas, using color to provoke feelings of ecstasy, tragedy, and transcendence. His bright reds, yellows, and oranges exuded warmth and vitality, while his later works, painted in dark blues, greens, and blacks, took on a somber tone. Rothko's mastery of color and form was both a technical triumph and a spiritual quest. The Seagram murals, commissioned in 1958 for the luxurious Four Seasons restaurant in New York, epitomized this vision. Rothko labored over these dark, brooding panels, only to refuse to have them installed, believing they would be diminished by the restaurant's decadent setting. He reclaimed the works, and they now hang in museums across the world, a testament to his refusal to compromise his artistic integrity. As the 1960s wore on, Rothko's sense of isolation deepened. He turned increasingly inward, his colors growing darker and his compositions more severe. His late works, including the somber black on grays, reflect a stark confrontation with mortality and the abyss. The creation of the Rothko Chapel in Houston, with its meditative, nearly black panels, stands as his ultimate statement, a space for spiritual reflection and an invitation to the sublime. Despite his fame, Rothko never saw himself as part of the art market that would later consume his legacy. He believed his paintings had a life of their own, independent of any commercial value. A painting lives by companionship, he said, expanding and quickening in the eyes of the sensitive observer. On February 25, 1970, Rothko took his own life in his New York studio. The arrival of his Seagram murals at the Tate Gallery in London on that very day underscored the tragic poetry of his final years. Yet Rothko's vision endures. His works, achingly beautiful, spiritually charged, remain monuments to the human condition, offering a silent communion with the viewer. Today, Rothko's paintings hang in the world's greatest museums and continue to command record prices at auction. Beyond their material value, they stand as profound meditations on the human soul, timeless and deeply resonant, much like the artist himself.